this is the Paper Chef here. Today I launched my latest Udemy course. It is called Canvas Workspace Winter Projects, and right now I'd like to show you the projects we'll be creating in that course in more detail. Now in the course, I'm just going to kind of give you the background first of all, and I need some water because I've been doing a lot of talking. So let me just get a sip of water and I'm going to go through kind of the history of this project and how I came about doing it. Okay, so I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I went to Amsterdam several years ago, and they had an on-stage event. And at that event, we did 3D swaps, and they said, bring swaps and you can trade with people. So I traded with people. Hi, Melody, how you doing? And I got one of these little swaps. I was like so thrilled, like it was unbelievable. There's a little sentiment on it. And the lady was from Germany, and I really wish I could give her credit now. I did give her credit in the swap video I made several years ago as I was going through the swaps. So then I took it apart. I sort of reverse engineered it. I put it on my trimmer, and I used my silicone mat, and I tried to do the diagonal score lines, and it was a big, pain in the butt because of diagonal scoring on a scoreboard. But I still made it, and I showed people how to make it, and we talked about it, and I've made it over the years. So it's one of my go-to projects. And this year I said, wouldn't it be great to just make this with the scan and cut, and I'd have like perfect diagonal lines, and I wouldn't have to worry about it. And then you can scale the box to any size you want. Hey, Yvonne's been around to remember when that I showed this. Thank you, Yvonne. I'm glad you remember. I actually used Santa's Workshop. I did an entire advent calendar using Santa's Workshop paper. Boy, do I miss that paper. That was the cutest paper ever. Well, I don't know. Maybe the snowmen were the cutest paper ever. But anyway, I figured out how to make it with the scan and cut, and now I decided to put this in my course. I must have sealed these or something. You know what I did is there was this little bit of these strips from the Haunts and Harvest paper pumpkin kit. There were these little tiny strips, and it really held these together well. So that's what I used. All right, so that's the background. I didn't invent the original design, but I just designed it in Canvas Workspace. So, full disclosure. But now that I've designed it, you can scale this box to whatever size you want, make it as big as you want, but I just left it cute because you can put a Hershey's Kiss in there. You could put, let's see, what else did I put in here? Maybe like, not Mars, mini Butterfingers, miniature candies, okay? So during the course, when I taught you how to do this, after I was done teaching you, I put them up on my mantle, and I stacked them all up like this. So I stacked them. I was all proud of myself. I went like that, and I stacked them up. But I couldn't get a tree. It didn't form a tree. There was like a couple, because of the number 25, and it just didn't form a tree. And then I come down, and I see that my husband had it all set up like this, and I was like, it's brilliant. He came up with this. He made a tree. He had them all like laying on like the side on the table. So that's what I wanted to show you. I'm going to lift up my tripod here. He didn't have them on this table. I'm just putting them on this table to do my video, but he put them, it's his calendar, so he just arranged it so they wouldn't be standing up. He goes, that doesn't look right. It doesn't look like a tree. And then next thing you know, he arranged it like a tree. Okay, so there you have it. That's the background of the project, and this is the first project we'll be creating in the course. The materials I used for this project are Hershey Nuggets, different butter, maybe, I don't know if I used Kisses in this one, but just tiny candy, mints, and tiny candies that fit in here. And I used the Sweet Stockings Designer Series paper because the patterns are so cute, and it's like a little bit of a delight. Every time that you open up one of these, it's a little bit of a delight. Okay, the other products I used were stickers I already had. Now, I always tell everybody, like, don't make more work for yourself. We do have dies that cut out numbers and letters. Stampin' Up! Does when I say we. The machine will cut out numbers and letters for you with vinyl, and later we use vinyl in this course. However, why in the world would I cut out 25 numbers when I probably have 20 sets of these numbers in what's called the Wonder of the Season Memories and More card pack? I've given away a lot of my extra numbers, but I had so many sets of stickers in the Wonder of the Season. So maybe some of you have that. It was last season's product, and there were number stickers. So maybe some of you have those number stickers. So if you have number stickers, or like say you can get number stickers at the Dollar Tree, why would you spend all this time cutting out the number part when you can make the cute little box part with your paper, right? I'm just saying, save time if you can. What else do I want to explain? Okay, the cardstock. So whenever you're doing projects in a course, or whenever you're making your projects, you want to have coordinating cardstock and coordinating designer series paper. So I used Evening Evergreen for all the even numbers, and I used Cherry Cobbler for all the odd numbers. Okay, so that was project number 1. And this is just a casual video of me sharing my project, so I want to definitely say hi to you guys as you come in. So that is very nice of you. So please say hi as you stop in. All right, so that was number 1. And I'm going to move on to number 2. Because we made five major projects in this course. Of course, I gave you tips and tricks for modifying designs and doing other things. All right, what we have here are matchboxes. Right? And while this project was designed in Canvas Workspace exclusively, because when you design something from scratch, you need to use Canvas Workspace exclusively, and I used what's called the artboard, and it helped make it. With these next 2 projects I'm going to show you, these were designed using what's called Template Maker. It's a way of getting your SVGs to be created for you automatically. Hi, Michelle. I'm so glad you signed up for my course already. That was so quick. I just launched it like, I don't know, an hour ago. Thank you so much. I have to be ready for it to launch, because what happens is after I submit it for review to the Udemy, that's where it's being hosted on that platform. They don't tell me when they're going to approve it. It could take, one time it used to take 6 days to approve it. Then sometimes it takes 2 days to approve it. So I have to have all the pieces in place and be ready to show you when it does launch, because I don't want to show you before it launches, because then you're going to try to take the course and you're able to enroll. So I had to wait for them to approve it. They have to approve my graphics and my videos and things. All right, so this project, as you know from watching my YouTube channel, as you all probably know, the ones that are here, is I always have buckets of crafty goodness. And what a bucket of crafty goodness is I ahead of time, there's a lot of elements that I have in place. Like I have hearts cut out. I have maybe these little die-cut snowflakes. I have little pieces that I can easily put sentiments on and then just ink around them later. So then all I need to do when I'm making my projects, the part that would take long is designing and cutting the boxes, because when it comes to putting the sentiments and the ribbons on the boxes, it's a snap, because I have all of these items in place. That's how I get a lot done and when I'm crafting. So I did have to stamp the sentiments, but I had all the pieces already to stamp them on too. And I did show you how to cut out a rectangle and told you what size this rectangle is if you do want to cut out the rectangles for your own sentiments. And in a previous course, I taught you how to make your own sentiment pieces in different shapes and how to make your own. But why reinvent the wheel? Like this little piece was already die cut. All right, so we had a celebration recently, and it ended a couple months. Oh gosh, and I already forgot when it ended. But there was a celebration where you were able to get this paper for free, and it's not available anymore. But of course, I hoarded it because I love this paper. It's called Penguin Playmates Designer Series paper, and I know a lot of you have it because it was one of the most highly retrieved items from Celebration. So what I did is I took the Penguin Playmates Designer Series paper and I used cardstock as well that would coordinate. So the boxes would be stronger, and this is called a match box. So if you remember, I don't know how long you guys have been around, but I still have some matches like that. You take them out of the matchbox, little tiny matchboxes, and you strike them on the side. And so this is shaped like a matchbox. That's the concept. Very easy. Now you can create these from scratch. I've taught you how to make boxes. It's a box bottom with a wrap. It's a lid. But when you're making a lot of something, I made it so you could fit a couple of these on one sheet of Designer Series paper, meaning 2 bottoms and 2 tops on one piece of paper. And then you can walk away. It does take a long time to cut because of the score lines, the way that the Scan and Cut scores, which I'm going to show you a close-up of that. But you can walk away, get these done, and just mix and match and put them together very quickly later with minimal effort. Okay, so here's another way you can embellish. There's a wobble spring. The little fox is on a wobble spring. Earlier in the summer, in this course, I did cut out pattern paper a little bit in the next project, but for this one, I already had these already cut out. And I already had Wink Estella on them, so this is from my bucket of crafty goodness. But it's also cut out of the Penguin Playmates. So in Template Maker, which is a great website, I've taught about it on this channel. Hi, Lala. I love that name, Lala's Crafts. So, you know, in the course and on my YouTube channel, I talk about Template Maker a lot. When I discovered that site, I was so excited. So you pretty much put in all the parameters. I've already done the experimentation for you so that there'd be less clearance. See how loose this box is? Well, there's one that's even looser. I still went with it. You just stuff it with candy. If it's real loose, like this, you just put more candy in it. That's no problem. Or you see how it's loose because I used Designer Series paper for the bottom and the top? That's why it's loose. Well, when I started realizing, okay, you should use cardstock and Designer Series paper in combination, then the boxes became pretty sturdy. I also changed what's called the clearance level. So the clearance is this distance between, you know, the box and the wraparound. So these are parameters I teach you how to change. I put the same thing in all the boxes, which is pretty much a candy cane, a Twix. You can even line the box. If you do use cardstock, you can line the boxes like that. Isn't that cute? It just makes me happy. So I'll be making even more of these. I love making simple projects like this. And then once I get something, you know, of course it's saved, and then you can just create more. These are great stocking stuffers. So I show you how to do everything, start to finish. How to go on to Template Maker, get that template, modify it so that it fits 2 on a page. Then I tell you how to assemble the box and how to embellish the box, etc., etc. Okay, third project. Let me make sure I'm saying hi to you guys too. Hi, Linda. Hey, you came on my last video. You were like the first one there. Before I even got there, you were there. Because you were saying hi, and I was like, I wasn't even there yet. I'm like, how'd she get there so fast? I'm not even saying hi yet. All right, but that's awesome. Now, the third project is still from Template Maker. I put these in the same section of the course. So this section of the course was using Template Maker to create 3D, or just it's using Template Maker. So I did a lot of experimentation, so you didn't have to. And I'm going to show you the one I kind of first, was probably one of my first ones. This one was, I would call it my fat star. It was like fat, and it was like big plump star. And when I tried to put the star in between it, I was trying to go for like a star to touch these corners. I couldn't get the measurements right because you see how this starts curving too early. I don't know, it's not really too early, but what I'm saying is I would have had to put a really small star here because this box curves a lot more because it's so tall. So then after some experimentation, but I love it, and I kept it, and I didn't put any candy in it because it was my prototype, really. Then I said I need to go with a not as high of a distance for the star. So then what I did is see this one's not as high. So I tried it that way, messing with the parameters so that this star embellishment that we also cut out with our scan and cut. We also cut the deer out with our scan and cut. I'll explain that in a minute too. But the star now is laying flat on this part. It doesn't start to curve until, so I was able to glue the star onto these points without it like popping off the box. Although I still like the one with the wonderful, it's called a wonderful snowflake, but I was trying to go for a star that would stick and stay flat. Now in these, what I did is I put candy in them, and then I sealed them. I sealed them shut. Wouldn't that be fun to give to someone and they're like, do I break it open? Do I shake it? It's a piñata. So you're making little piñatas for people, because there's candy inside and they can break it open. All right, so I'll get to the stamps in a moment, and I just want to say something about the deer and because you might say, well, don't you have the deer punch? Which, you're probably thinking, right? Don't you have everything? Don't you have the deer punch? Well, yes, I have what's called a deer punch, right? But the deer punch is a fixed size. So in other words, like it's like a fixed direction too. And I've seen people do all these tips and tricks like hold your punch up to the mirror to be able to cut the deer out and going in different directions. And there's no way I'm doing all that. There's no way I'm holding my punch up to a mirror to try to punch the deer backwards. Isn't happening, right? I have a scan and cut. So even though I have a punch, sometimes The punch is great for just cutting out deer shapes, but when it comes to cutting out the designer series paper from Peaceful Place, this was another celebration paper. I guess I have to show you that paper to show you what I mean, but in order to do that, the punch only goes in one direction. So you can now cut out all the deer in both directions using the scan and cut. Okay, so that's what I mean. And this was another one of the celebration papers, which I hoarded a lot of. It's called Peaceful Place Designer Series paper. Okay, now I'm going to show you the stamps, which are still available. Even though these two last papers aren't available, I know a lot of you have them. And I know that you could still get the stamps. I'm not saying that the punch isn't good to have, because the punch is a great way of using up scraps. It's just in this particular case, when I'm cutting out pattern paper, I didn't. All right, so for this project, I used, for the best time of the year, I first of all went into my bucket of crafty goodness and took out different shapes. Like this shape was cut with the messages die, and that one too. And then so I think maybe that one too. I think all of these except for this one. This one is just me cutting. Oh no, even that one. All of these little shapes were cut from messages dies. Now it looks like this is a tiny stamp, right? When you open it up though, this is one of those weird stamp sets that you're like, oh wow, it's much bigger inside than the outside, because it's a double stamp set inside. It's photopolymer, but there's, I don't know about double, but there's enough. It's not really double, but there's a lot of images in there. See how much bigger the actual image is than the one on the front of the box? So that's one of those you got to check sometimes. You're like, oh, I'm glad it's bigger, because I wanted it to be bigger. And this is photopolymer, so you could see through it as you stamp. So that, and of course they do get stained when you use them a lot, especially when you use some cherry cobbler inks on them, but no big deal, they still work fine. That's nice though, because what I did is I cut out all of my pieces ahead of time. It's the best time of the year. I used garden green because it's one of the coordinating colors, and I cut out all of this so that I could just stamp onto it later. I didn't know what I was going to be stamping onto it. I just run the messages die through. Every chance I get, I run the messages die through. Meaning every chance I get, meaning every, whenever I have scrap paper. All right, so that's Peaceful Deer. And then Banner Year was used. I just wanted to pull out the stamp sets for this one over here. You're Sweet. And it was used for Treat So Sweet. So you can still get Banner Year. It's a classic stamp set that pretty much I've been using all last year and this year. It's funny, I have all these stamp sets, but I use some of them the most. I use some of them like all the time. That Season's Greetings from here. And so is Be Cool, Be Chill, Be Merry. All right, Be Cool, Be Chill, Be Merry. That's from here. Penguin Place. Still available. What else? That's that one. Okay, so anyway, those are the 3 stamp sets I used for that. Now let's move on to another project. Here, instead of making you guys dizzy, let me move. What I'll do is I'll put stuff in front of my camera instead of moving my tripod around a lot. I want to show you now these tags. These are called my layered snowflake tags. So for a project like this, thank you, Terry. So Lala has that stamp. I'm not sure which one of the 3 stamps you have. Oh, you have the deer bundle you like, right? Hi, Deb. Hi, Terry. Thank you, Terry. All right. When you think about Stampin' Up's specialty cardstock, and I believe this is definitely one carrying over. It's been around for a while now. It's called brushed metallic cardstock. Their cardstock is so fabulous because when you buy a pack of it, you get 3 shades of it. It automatically made me think of layering up things, and I want to do it with the silver too. I'm going to try silver next, but I was on a roll with the gold, so I kept going with the gold. So you need 3 shades to make this work. So there's a pack of silver foil cardstock, and there's a pack of brushed metallic cardstock, which is gold. So either one will work with this. Actually, you don't need 3 layers. You could do 2 layers in your tag. So for this project, the concept behind this project was taking what I was teaching you is how to take a Canvas Workspace project that's already made for you, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. There was a snow globe, not globe, but you know those plastic ornaments, you could buy them at like the Dollar Tree or like Hobby Lobby, and they're plastic, and you put something in the middle of it and you shut it. It snaps together. You could put like fake snow inside and glitter. Well, there was a project inside Canvas Workspace where you can make a snowflake for the middle of that, and there's little holes sticking out the top, and all it was this inside snowflake. So I decided to show you how to layer it using offset lines, using the original Snowflake, some offset lines, and then how to add holes, how to create the hole the right size, and how to align the hole the right size so that you can make the 3 layers perfectly aligned professionally so that you can make a layered snowflake. And on the back, I mean, I didn't get into all this in this course, but I just mentioned that you could write on it, to, from. But I give crafts because it's like, to me, crafts are the gift that keeps on giving. Of course, they're going to have to break these apart. But for the most part, everything I made here, you know, you take it apart, they get their candy out, they can give it to someone else, right? The tag, you put it on a gift that somebody's happy, they can give it to someone else. So I don't usually write on my tags. I mean, you can, right? But if I am going to write, you could also put stamp like to and from. But I just do it for things for decoration. So I was experimenting. I want to do it with silver, but I was on a roll with the gold. These are all the exact same, by the way, but look at the way the light captures them. Makes them look different. So I used the lightest one for the front, the darkest one for the next layer, and then the next lightest one for the back. And then I did some experimentation. I took more of the celebration paper. This one was called Beautifully Penned paper, which you might not really think of it as a winter paper. But here it is, beautifully penned, and it had flowers on the back. So on one side was polka dots, and on the other side was flowers. See, and one side you can use it for mermaids. So just think of other ways to use these celebration papers that you might be, you know, wanting to use up. So I thought of that paper, and I thought it kind of looks like snow. So for this one, I did a double layer. But then it had flowers on the back. So I was like, we can't have flowers on the back. So I made another one exactly duplicated. So I used balmy blue. I took the balmy blue cardstock, and then I did a balmy blue background. And now this is just a 2-layered snowflake. And I was thinking I could also put some Wink of Stella on there as well. Now, if you guys have been around since last year, you'll know that we had some balmy blue glimmer paper, which is fantastic. And I didn't have much of it, or I probably would have made some more snowflakes out of the balmy blue glimmer paper. But this is a 3-layered one with that beautifully penned in the front, balmy blue glimmer paper, and then balmy blue cardstock. Okay, so for ribbons, over here and here, these ones are called black glittered organdy ribbon. It's around now. You could still get this in our catalog now, black glittered organdy. In fact, it's in the annual, so you'll be able to get this up until, I mean, at least May. I think it's probably going to be something that carries over. I don't know. This one's a new glittered organdy ribbon, came in the holiday catalog. It's called the white glittered organdy ribbon. I used it here. I used it here. These are my 2 favorite ribbons right now. And I used it all over here. I mean, because who doesn't love glitter in your ribbon? And the glitter doesn't fall out too much, although you're probably like, it's all over your table. What are you talking about? See, there's some on my table. But it really doesn't fall out as much as regular glitter falls out all over the place. So, you know how it is. Hi, Beverly. Thank you. I'm glad you like my metallic snowflakes. Okay, Lala's saying she has the penguin stamp. Yeah, the penguin stamp, honestly, I use this more, the sentiments, more than the penguin, because although I punched out this penguin a few times, he's cute. He's just, it's like, to me, he's cuter to punch out of the paper. Anyway, I digress. He's cuter to punch this penguin out than the penguin that you stamp. But I still use the stamped penguin as well. All right, the last project. So I'm glad you liked the projects, Barbara. So I went over the top with this one. So I'm going to start out kind of simple. The concept was for this last project was to personalize a jar. So this was sort of my prototype for a teacher gift. It was the projects. See, every time, let me just also say that every time I create something for you in a course, it's because I'm actually creating it for myself. I don't create things for my courses. I show you in my courses things that I'm already creating. I design my courses around projects that I'm actually using myself so that the courses are more practical. So anyway, this was my prototype I'm not giving this one away, actually. This is my embellishment jar, actually. But what I decided, so I was just trying to figure out what size to make the font. And then I came up with the winter one, the Winter Wonderland scene that I built inside the jar. So I'm going to show you that in a minute. So I'm going to back up again and tell you about my Patreons. So I have channel supporters who support my channel, and I always ask them for ideas on what to what to do for my new courses. And of course, they come up with things that send me on, what is it called? Down the rabbit hole, right? But it's really fun. So they're like, oh, we want something to make sound and lights up and this and that and the other. So I checked this out. I went and ordered something that would light up. I ordered LEDs and figured out how to make things light up, which was kind of fun. So if you keep, I'm going to keep pressing it till it's solid. Okay, there's a solid light. So basically it's an LED on the bottom of the jar. So this is a coaster, and I'm going to be making 20 of these because I have 20 coasters. And this coaster fits, see, I'm going to turn it over without trying to mess up the jar. The coaster, the LED coaster fits on the bottom of the jar, but it also fits, I didn't put one on this one yet, but it will fit on this kind of jar as well. And I didn't put the snowflake on the top yet, but I just wanted to show you that the snowflake is from the Scan and Cut. It's actually from, this is just the back of my vinyl actually. This is not a sticker, it's just showing that it'll fit on either jar. So the concept of this is that I was personalizing a jar, and I originally put this little winter scene in the jar, which I thought was cool, and I was making it light up, and my husband walked by and he's like, why don't you have any candy in there? Because he remembered from last year, I was going to put some hot cocoa in there and candy canes, and he remembered, if it was last year or the year before, I made these nice jars, which I also personalized, but I put hot cocoa in there as a teacher gift. And he's like, what about all the little candies you have wrapped in the other room? And he was talking about from my advent calendar. So the countdown to Christmas calendar. Here's some I was doing a fall project. I could show you that too. Let me just put the fall ones off to the side. But anyway, he saw all these little candies laying there, and he's like, why don't you put those in there? So I took my little winter scene and lit up the jar, and I put little candies in there that were wrapped. So these are Hershey nuggets, Hershey miniatures. I even wrapped some M&Ms, candy canes, and I put them in with the snow scene. And I showed how to build this in the course, to build this from start to finish, how to put the cotton in the bottom, the pine cones, the sprigs, what these all came from, and how I built this jar actually live. Not live, but in my recording. Let me turn off the light. Okay, it's a little wobbly because the coaster's not flat, but that's just it makes it kind of more fun. And I put a little jingle bell on it as well. So I'm going to work on this one. I'm going to work on this one, and I'm going to put a large candy cane in this one, a tall candy cane. I just don't have any yet, and I'm going to work on this jar. But that's the same concept. And then I'm going to work on some more, and I'm going to make 20 of them. Well, maybe not a whole 20, but I have 20 coasters. So that is my personalized jar project. So for this one, I taught you how to go online and download a free font, free for personal use. Okay, so you can't resell the font. You can't make T-shirts with the font and sell the T-shirts or something like that. You can use it for personal use, though. So this is the font. You're going to go to a website, get the font, download it, install it on your computer, open Canvas Workspace, write with the font, weld the font, and make the letters. I even teach you how to make the letters go closer together. Because did you ever get a font and it's like so wide when you write with it, and then you need to like make the letters get closer together, but it's script? Well, I teach you how to do that. How to take them, divide the letters apart so that you can nudge them all together. Literally nudge with your arrows, and then anyway, it's a long process, but once you learn the process, you'll be doing it every single time you write something. So those are my projects that you're going to learn about in the Winter Projects course. But the best part of the course is the skills that you learn. The skills can be applied to absolutely anything that you create with the Scan and Cut, any time of year. Maybe I'll do another one for spring. I mean, who knows? But we'll come up with new projects every time, and the skills that you learn are going to be something that you can apply to whichever season. But I hope you go and make some of these for this holiday season. You have plenty of time to make your advent calendar, especially using the process of what I showed, because you can get with this one 6 to a page. You can fit 6 of these on a piece of designer series paper. Pretty sure it was 6. So that makes it so you can really get one of these done quickly. And if you have stickers, even quicker. All right, let's see if there are any questions. I'm going to wrap it up now. So what you can do if you want to enroll is use my coupon code, please, because that is in the description of this video. It's good till November 27th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. The course is only $9.99 with the coupon. And please use my coupon, because even though Udemy is also having a $9.99 Black Friday special this week, it's better that you use the instructor coupon who directly sent you to the course, because we get paid that way for referring our own customers. If you went to Udemy and looked up my course and searched for it, they wouldn't know that I just told you about my course. They would have no way of knowing that I referred you to my own course. So you pretty much, if you click on my link, that way I will get credit for referring you to my course. I'm just changing up the scenery here. And just checking to make sure. So thank you, Yvonne. Yes, I'm in full Christmas mode. Actually, I'll show you. I'm in full Christmas mode, but I just made these. This is my, I just made these for this weekend for my Thanksgiving party favors. Oops, got my, these have nothing to do with the scan and cut. But yes, I'm in Christmas mode, but these are my Thanksgiving party favors. I made these with a paper pumpkin kit. So while I am in Christmas mode for my scan and cut course, I also am working on fall projects at the same time. So lots going on, but it's loads of fun. I wanted to make sure that I got this done because I really need to put everything away because of some company coming. I needed to put all this stuff away and wanted to wrap up the course. So I hope to see you all in my course, and you can practice what you learn by creating assignments. And that's all for now. I'm going to head out and start sharing some of these creations. This is the Paper Chef. See you next time.